Nobody could hear me. So now I hope y'all can hear me. I got a new microphone. So let's get into it for another Monday night with bees all day. I'm sure Charlie will be in here shortly and see what else we can get into tonight. I hope everybody's had a good week so far, and hope everybody's bees are doing okay. It was 54 here in the valley today, but and a little chilly. It was a little windy, but we suffered through. I put out some pollen today for the bees, and they were all over it. So, how about you, Charlie? How was your weather and everything up there today?
Well, I did take off this afternoon to work in the bee yard, and it wasn't as warm as yours. It was supposed to be 50 degrees, but if it got over 45 to maybe the truck said 47, but I had a kind of disbelief on that. But it was about, I'll say 45 degrees.
Yeah.
It was warm enough that you could get in the hives, you can open them up without risk of, I'll say, chilling the bees or anything in the hive.
Yeah,
They
I was going to open up today and on two smaller hives and check see if there was any brood at all on them.
Yeah, now
But
it wasn't warm enough for that here to do that.
no.
I just wanted to, I could work at a normal pace and get my pollen patties and my sugar bricks in. And hey, Keith and Mike and Ryan. So I went through the hives behind me there. Some were stronger, I got one 10 framer that's pretty weak, and they've been eating on their sugar bricks and their pollen patty, but they haven't consumed them. The rest of the hives have completely consumed them, all the stuff, pretty much. I did make a video today. That'll be coming out this week. And I had some hives that, food's only been on there about a week and maybe a week and a half at the most. And some of the hives, especially on the ones down on the end down there, they were everything was gone. And big clusters. They were hanging on the inner cover about that deep, about 4 inches deep of bees. And, not all of them. I had a couple of them like that, but so I took my global patties, and most of the time they're about a foot long or so. I cut them in half and put a half of a strip in, and I made up some bricks actually yesterday, and they dried. I didn't put any pollen powder in them. They worked out fine. 24 hours later, or a little bit more than that, maybe, they were hard. They came out like cakes, like they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I had a pan of sugar cakes I had Man Lake's pollen powder in them. And they just wouldn't dry. They wouldn't dry to a hard form. They are kind of crumbly. So like I say, yesterday morning, I made regular sugar cakes, put them in my hot box, and by 1 o'clock today, they were ready to go. Just pop right out as nice square cakes. And it seemed like to me the bees actually liked them better, from judging from what was in there, than the ones with the pollen in it. I don't know why. Now they devour. Now some of them hives there were some that had scraps left of the pollen patties, and other ones where there just wasn't anything left except paper.
Yeah.
And I had one there that was one of them really super strong hives. I think it was like next to the last one on that row behind me at the end. And it was so strong. I guess it's about 12 inches long. One of them pollen patties, I guess it's considered 1 pound. I just put the whole strip in there. That's how much they're going to probably eat. And then I added, what I was trying to do was get rid of the the pollen powder sugar mix, and I dumped a lot of that in there along with some white briquettes and all that. Let's say hi, man, all you bees on supply from Texas. But so I got all that done this afternoon. Got everybody, covered back up. We might be getting snow again Wednesday.
Yep, that's what they're saying here too. And a couple days after that too, they're calling for 1 to 3 inches there next week sometime for 3 days in a row. So, I kind of expect some cold stuff, but it comes and goes. There's
Right.
Will. How you
Hey,
doing,
guys.
Will?
Good.
So, just so you know, Charlie, Magnolia Bee Supply is Andy Knight from Texas.
Okay. Well, welcome, Andy. You can come over to my show on Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so I got that done today. What else did I do? I had to bottle, I don't know, let's see, 26 pounds of honey up this afternoon. They cleaned me out on 2-pounders today and a couple 3-pounders. And honey's going out the door.
Yeah.
I did all the last, I filled my bottling tank up Saturday afternoon, I guess it was, while it wasn't raining. And so it's been busy. And let's see, we got how many weeks we got to go till we go to come down to your place? Is it next? I guess that'll be next weekend, won't it? Not this coming weekend.
Not this coming weekend, but weekend after.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to get, and you do have global patties, right?
I do. I have them in the freezer.
You can have 20 pounds there for me when I get there.
Yep. I'll have 20 pounds there for you.
All right.
So
But,
Andy wants to know the detail for your show.
Andy knows what is it?
He wants to know the details for your show. Time it starts, all that good stuff.
Well, it's Sawmill Charlie's Bee Farm. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to that. It is every Friday night it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I'm not sure. That would be what, about 5 o'clock his time?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think it's at least 2 hours.
Andy, I can send you a Facebook message to remind you.
And mine is a intermediate to advanced beekeeping. A lot of the same folks here that come on. Occasionally, Ian Stepler will pop in. I got there's quite a few Canadians. There's Brad and Ian and James and Doug, and they're all pretty good sized commercial guys, anywhere from 40,000 pounds and up.
Yep.
As far as what they're harvesting. And I know Doug told me this year he got 40,000 pounds, and they had I don't know whether it was a drought or a freeze up there. They normally probably get somewhere around 60-some thousand pounds. So that's nothing. I mean, Ian Stepper, I guarantee he gets 150,000 pounds, if not more.
That's a lot of honey.
Yeah, and then James, he got 20,000, I think, this year. The average hive up there that they have, the average is 250 pounds per hive. And if it's a good hive, or if let's say everything lines up, the stars all line up where they have good weather, good resources, as far as food, and their hives are in great shape, they'll average 300 pounds per hive.
Yeah. So good evening, Nancy. How are you today?
Hello. Hi,
Hi guys, I'm well. I was out in the
Um,
yard today a little bit,
Yep.
but my husband just decided to chase the dog just as I'm coming into the studio, so of course. But I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, good. So I put pollen out today, Charlie, and I'm gonna tell you what, those bees, like they were attacking me before I got it all hung up and
Oh,
pollen put in
you're
it. They
talking
were
about pollen powder,
pollen subs, pollen
powder,
sub
powder,
uh,
or the patties?
powder,
Powder. Okay.
and they were in the bucket before I could get it put in the feeder.
Yeah.
So they were all over me.
They on my bees, some of them were out at the entrance, but because it had that kind of a damp air today, they were pretty much in the house. They were like, we ain't going out there. It's too cold.
Yeah,
Hey, Bob.
all mine were flying today. Every hive was flying, and I hit the bee yard. I didn't have a jacket on. I hit the bee yard. I figured they wouldn't be flying if maybe just one or two out of each hive occasionally. That doesn't bother me without a jacket. Next thing I know, I'm covered with bees all over my sweatshirt, and they were coming after pollen.
So your voice and your sound is much better. Did you put some echoing devices?
I got a
on the
new
wall?
mic.
Got a new mic.
I got a better mic.
I don't hear any echo.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I have earphones in instead of using speakers. So it's working out better.
Yeah, it's sounding clear and crisp and all.
Yeah. So I saw Bob hop in here a while ago, and Mike's from Easy Ox is in here.
Yeah.
Thanks for the compliment on the video, Mike. I put up a video Sunday of us doing our last winter treatment with OA. So that's it for OA until next fall.
I watched the video and all.
Yep.
And
yeah, I watched it too. I think I got to turn the temp up on my my InstaVap because it takes so long to come up to temp after I put oxalic in the plunger. It takes too long, so I think I have to turn mine up. And I think you mentioned a degree in your video.
Yep. I've got the old, not the 110 version, but the first battery.
Yeah,
vaporizer.
me too.
Yeah.
Like 4 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Ours is set for 444 degrees. And when it warms up, it'll go up to 446. You drop the acid, it drops down to somewhere around 395. When it's almost done, and then it'll start to climb. And when it hits about 430 again, the vapor stops. So it's done. And that's about 30 to 40 seconds.
Now Clay says in the chat there his was set at 450.
Yeah.
The old ones, Clay? Can I get up to 450? I didn't turn it on. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to turn it up as high as it'll go now. I guess, right? Is that okay?
Mike says 440 to 450.
Yep. That's right. You don't want to turn it wide open.
But 440 to 450. See, I think I have mine set at 430. Yeah. What's the supplement temperature again? 430, right?
440, isn't it, Mike?
Oh, well, so I'm gonna have to turn mine up, but I didn't know if there was a limit on how high I can go or how high I should go.
You don't want it too hot or it'll turn it to form.
Yeah, I'm seeing 440, 450. Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thanks, Mike.
Come on in here, Mike, and you answer these
nice
questions.
Video on Friday, Mike.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Video or live chat.
Or live sorry, chat. Charlie, your live chat.
That was
Yeah,
fun.
it was a
That
great.
was actually fun.
It was a lot of fun and a great interview. And
Yeah.
Hey, JW.
Hey, I was
Yeah, I
curious,
watched
Bill.
JW's
What's that?
video today too.
I was
Hunting his little
curious
critter.
what amp hour batteries you were using and how many hives you typically get out of them.
That
Me?
line of hives right there
Yeah.
is 17 hives. And we did all 17 with less than 2 batteries. And it took us 20, because I was videoing, it took us about 25 minutes.
How big of batteries were you using? Do you
8
remember?
amp hour,
Oh, okay.
18 volt, 8 amp hour, because they're Milwaukee's.
you got eight.
Yep, I'm running 8 amp hour Milwaukee's, and I'm getting somewhere between 15 and 20 now. I'm shooting them with 4 grams though instead of 2.
Yeah, now see, those batteries are a little probably older than yours. What are you using, the compact or the old big old one?
I'm using a compact, and my batteries are fresh. I bought them last year.
Right.
Those.
So my batteries are 2.5 years old.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just curious what you were doing or what you were using.
Yep, 8 amp hours is what we have.
Now he was doing 2 grams, and you're going to do 4. It takes more energy
to burn the 4.
To burn all that.
Yep. So Mike posted on here. I guess we scared him off Friday night. The sublimation is 339 to 375. So if you got it set at 440, Gansey, you'll be safe. Yep. That's just like mine. Yep.
You got to turn the mic on, Mancy.
You got to turn your mic on so we can hear you.
I'm really embarrassed. It's dirty. But
so, if you run that Easy Ox powder in it, it doesn't get dirty.
This is my battery.
Yep.
I have 2 of these. But yeah, mine's a mess here. But I can't turn it on to see, like I can't do it now, but yeah. This handle's coming loose a little bit. I got to put one of those little things in here and tighten it up.
Yeah, there's a nut down inside of it.
Yeah, there's in there.
Yeah.
You know what? I had this like a year and a half or 2 years before I realized the plunger could fit in here.
Uh-huh. You carry, that's why you're supposed to carry 2 plungers. One in the handle, one in the machine.
I have one, and it's, I mean, I think I've had like up to 40 hives since I've had this, but not now. I don't have 40 hives now, but
yeah, mine got a workout last year. We had 82 hives last year.
If you're having any trouble with temperature on that, they say, I think like a 6 amp hour battery, a 5 or a 6 is like right on the verge of being, I mean, that's as small as you want to be battery wise.
Yeah.
It's always been.
So just make sure you're not having your battery, poop out on you.
It's 6.
It's a 6.
Oh yeah, I have 2 of these. Well, this was what they had recommended back, a couple years ago. They were saying that this was the good one. And I have 2 of these, but until I need to replace them, I'm not gonna get. I mean, it was expensive. It was expensive 4 years ago.
Yeah,
those batteries are pricey.
Yeah, the chargers, the batteries, the vaporizer, all of it. The whole kit and caboodle was expensive. But
yeah, now I'll say this, the minis that are coming out are a whole lot cheaper. Yes. And they're a whole lot more economical to work and run because they heat back up faster, number one. Number 2 is it's a lighter, smaller machine, and it's not, I mean, you're not carrying around an ammo box thing in your hand trying to treat with an ammo box in the front of the hive.
My compact's pretty
Gary.
Quick.
Can we highlight Gary's? Well, anyway, Here, I'm thinking I can highlight some of those. There you go. Yeah, I have a golf cart, so it's okay. Everything's on this golf cart, and I use that to go from round to round. I'm not carrying the ammo, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Carrying that
Yeah,
big
I
thing
gotcha.
around. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we walk a
that's
line
what I
of
want to
bees.
do. I want to add a couple of those. I want to add a couple of those 8 or 9 amp hour forge batteries that Peabody's apiary was just saying. They say those forge batteries are really, really
Yep.
good. So,
As long as they are the same thing as either a Milwaukee or a DeWalt on the plug, they'll work.
What is a forge?
Yeah, no, Milwaukee makes a forge battery,
okay.
they call it.
All right. Yep.
Those are the ones I want to get 2 of them and add in maybe this year later.
What's the difference about them?
I don't know the detail other than I think they're recommending that forge battery. There's something to that forge style of battery with the Milwaukee tools that is supposed to be better or more recommended for this application.
Yeah, it's definitely a stronger battery, and it's something in the circuitry of the battery that makes it last longer, and it doesn't drain it as fast.
Mike's not at his studio, that's why he can't come in.
Okay.
He's all professional now.
Yeah, we scared him off Friday night.
Now he got that big banner and everything. He's got it all just so. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think they were recommending the 9 when I bought mine. I think 6 was the highest they were saying, but oh well.
I think
and that battery technology just keeps jumping right now. So
yeah.
Lee's on. Hi, Lee.
Hey, Lee.
And Peabody. Peabody had a good video out the other day. Got me motivated, all gearing up for spring.
Yep. So it's going to be a couple more weeks and let the weather warm up down here a little bit more, and then I'll get into bees here and start posting more videos.
They were calling for 50 up at my place today, but I don't think it ever got there.
Never got here that way.
No, it
might have got maybe 45.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, the truck said 47 on the truck thermometer, but I'm wondering whether that thermometer is gauged to the internet and whatever the internet says, because it's always different than what it is locally.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I got through 2/3 of them today, but it wasn't real warm. Nobody was flying, like you were saying, Charlie. There wasn't anybody flying.
They weren't flying here. They were maybe a few of the hives were at the entrance looking out the door, and that was pretty much it.
Yep.
I had 2 or 3 of my hives that were flying good. Like I'm talking 20, 25 bees coming in and out, hanging out on the entrance. So I'm thrilled about that.
Did you have sunshine today?
Nah, not really. It was kind of overcast, but it got warm. It got to like 45 degrees.
Yeah, it was.
So they were coming overcast.
Out. It was overcast here and never really did warm up at all.
There's Tom and Melissa in here. How y'all doing this evening?
Yeah, some of my stronger hives. I went in Friday, I think it was, and put pollen. Open up to see who's still kicking. I lost all my 5 frames this year, which is not a surprise. I think I had 5 of those, and they were all late. I had gotten some queen cells, and those were done at summer, kind of around summer solstice. But I just couldn't get weight. I don't have any luck with 5 frames. I think I'm going to sell my boxes, sell most of them. I got like 17 sets, and I I mean, I run 8 frame up here, so 5 frame isn't really worth the hassle of that equipment, honestly. I just buy a couple follower boards, drop my 5s down to 8, drop my 8s down to 5s if I really need them. So I'm gonna post those for sale. They're wax dipped.
Well, that's good. Microcrystalline?
Are they deeps, I guess?
Deeps and mediums. Yep. A little bit of both. Solid bottoms, migratory tops.
Microcrystalline wax.
Huh?
Microcrystalline wax.
Yeah. Wax dipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a couple guys up here that are great, fabulous dippers. I've been to 5 or 6 of them. Some aren't so good. Some dirty wax. Others are real good.
Yeah. Okay.
So did you drop pollen patties and stuff like that, Will?
Yeah. Yep. I got in and I got through about 2/3 of my bees, and I'm running about 75%, something like that. But everybody that was alive got either a whole pollen patty or a half, depending on size.
Well, good.
And bundle them up. I just have one more yard, and like I say, I just kind of ran out of daylight today. So
yeah, I checked my my nukes that I had, and one of them I had. Well, the last time I was in there, I went ahead. They weren't up to the top or anything. I said, well, maybe I'll put a pollen patty in there just in case. One of them, nobody came up and did anything with it. And then the next one over, there was a small. They had ate a pollen patty, about 2/3 of it. So I went ahead and plopped that patty on top of that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of them were, like I say, it's too cold. And I know that they're flying when it is nice and warm, if it's 50 degrees. So I know they're 3 boxes tall, a lot of them. So they're down in there. And some, like I say, I'm not going to, it's just too cold to open anything or crack any boxes. I had one there that I did take a medium off the top of one of the 5 framers. And once you got down to the first, from the bottom board up 2 boxes, then you could start seeing the bees in there. And I'm like, well, just leave them alone and not mess with them and all that. So I can't say that all of them are 100% alive, but I think they are. We'll see.
Yeah, I didn't pull any frames or anything like that, but I figured they were, if they weren't, up against that candy board and up in the top of that box, they're gone.
What I did see on some of mine, the cluster might have been off to the left or the right side.
Yep.
And the other side had honey frames in it. And where they were at, what little bit I could look at, I didn't pull any frames, like you say. Look down in there. It looks like to me they had cleaned the frames out of honey and stuff.
Do you think they'll be able to transition the cluster back over to that other side?
Probably, as long as it's warm, that's the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, they said, well, why? There was one gal on the YouTube channel. She was crying about, the hives. She had a bunch of dead bees on the bottom board. And she's, you only get to see what they show on the camera, but they had honey in there. And I'm like, they pulled a frame up and you had a little bit in this corner and a little bit on this corner. And the rest of it is bare as a bone. And yep. I'm like, and then she had one frame that might have had about that much in a frame. Now, where that frame was located, who knows? But I'm like, like lady.
If they can't get to it.
I'm looking at the other 2 or 3 frames that were shot in the video, and I'm like, they starved.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because I forget what it was my friend Lloyd told me was, if they're over here and it's one of them, like you say, around 15 degrees or 20 degrees or something like that, and they're cold where they cannot move, and the honey's 2 frames over, and they can't move over here. And I think so many hours, I'll say a day or 2 at the most, a couple of days late. If they can't move in 2 days time, they'll starve. The food's there, but they can't get to it.
Yeah.
Michael Palmer made comment that bees could starve like 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch away from food because they can't move that cluster enough to get to it.
And see, that's the thing about 5 frame nukes. Everybody says, what's the magic about them? Well, they don't have to move side to side at all. Yep. They'll move right straight up, and they never lose. And that's the thing about single brood chamber management. They don't lose contact of their food.
Yep.
Where if you got a double deep or you got a small cluster in a 10 frame box and they got to go left or right, they don't go left or right.
Nope.
In nature, they go straight up.
Yep.
And they, like you say, they'll chimney right straight up, and there'll be honey out on the. I mean, I had one hive out there that I seen it a week and a half ago. It had honey out here on the outer edge, maybe frame 1 and 2, and they are over on the other side of the hive, and all the frames in there were empty, except the one next to the wall and one next to that. And I pulled the one up out of that, slid them over, and then stuck them over here right next door to them.
Yep.
And then I sit there and sweat through that one blizzard week we just had. And I'm like, I got to get in there or they're going to starve. They're going to starve to death. And nobody did. But I guess because I moved that stuff and I've been, popping the sugar on them to them.
So Peabody said she had pollen coming in today and she has no idea what it is. So more than likely this time of year, it's henbit.
Yeah, that's Peabody is Ryan Peabody. That's Ryan. He's down in Charles.
Ryan.
His name is Ryan, and he's down in Charles County, Maryland.
Yeah, it's probably
about 2 hours south of me.
Probably henbit. So it's an early grass flower that comes out, and it's really close to the ground where it draws heat from the ground. It's one of the very first flowers that comes out every year.
Now, where he's at, he's next to the pretty close to Chesapeake Bay.
Yep.
And if he's closer to the shore area, and then that's kind of a sandy ground down there.
Yep.
And you might have quite a bit of, like you say, some forage in the area.
Yeah,
what color was the pollen? That's the question. Because henbit is it's a bluish purple.
Yeah, but what's the pollen look like? White?
It's either going to be white, yellow, or it might have a blue hue to it.
Oh wow, a blue hue.
Yeah.
Huh.
In skunk
I have a lot of that.
What's skunk cabbage? Is it white or is it orange?
I was going to say, I think witch hazel's out there right now too.
Who? What's out there?
Hazel. I think witch hazel might be out there too. I heard something about that being more of a winter type, but I don't know that.
So what color was
the
pollen? That's the question. Good night, Lee. That's the question. What color was the pollen?
He said it's on red pollen plant. Mike says it's a red pollen plant. Purplish looking flower, but a red pollen. It's on the Facebook, he said. I had some of my 8 frames starved out, and they didn't move laterally. My inner cover has a hole towards the front, which I put that towards the east side. It's towards the front of the hive, and that's where I have my feed. They were up underneath back here. They not only were they not moving across frames, they weren't moving with the grain of the frame from front to back. They were all in the back, up underneath. All they had to do was move 4 inches on the same frame, not go around and up and through or above and over, but this way to the feed. And they couldn't do it. They were dead here. The feed was here.
Yeah.
And it's been within the last week and a half. They died. I could tell by the bodies how it was. I just lost them. If I had spun that inner cover around and put all the feed where they were, but I mean, I wasn't out there, so I might have saved them. But it's okay. I need some losses this year. I need to get rid of some of those softer genetics. that are down there.
He said it was yellow. I wonder what that would be.
Winter aconite, maybe.
Winter aconite. No,
Or
that's not up yet.
it could be a cedar. It could be a spruce. Could be pine, fir. I just looked it up. If
he's in Maryland, I don't know. Mark Miller is what, West Tennessee, and he just had pollen start to come in. I think Maryland. If he's this guy, if Ryan's in Maryland, I bet you it's just rubbish. You know, they're into something.
Yeah.
They're going over to Charlie's to the sawdust pile, or
Maybe
I've seen him do that.
Birdseed.
He's down in tobacco country too. There ain't no tobacco out there now.
Yeah, corn dust, but that's yeah.
It could be corn dust.
Feed out silage.
Yeah.
He does have cattle, and he does have chickens.
There you go. Could be chicken feed.
So what do you guys know about wax dipping?
Oh,
Expensive
and time consuming.
Yep.
Find a guy that does
somebody else to do it for you.
Well, I just jumped down the rabbit hole, so I'm going to go pick up a tank on tomorrow, I think.
Oh, jeez.
Really?
Yep. I'm waiting for a quote from the Canadians on wax. I want to see what wax costs.
You can get wax out of Georgia too.
Well, I talked
Probably
to
25% higher.
It's the Canadian Wax Corporation, and they have a warehouse out past Nancy, out in Philadelphia.
Oh,
so
where what town?
I don't know that. I'm going to get it all in an email probably tomorrow. So
I think the guy is still in Georgia that sells microcrystalline.
1K of wax minimum. What? To get started?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure.
How many boxes do you have, Will?
Well, I got 250 of them. I'm looking to get dipped right now, plus 48 nukes.
No, Nancy, 25 pounds of that microcrystalline is $280.
So you're going the long haul, Will. You're getting ready to gear up to just go. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yep, I'm starting to gear up to, and it's the age-old story of what do you want to spend your time doing, kind of thing. But
yeah, money or time, it's a constant.
Oh, money, time, and yep, money, time, and toys.
Well, money's no object. It's just
I don't know about that, but yeah.
I'm kidding. Hi, Tom.
I don't know. I mean, the crystalline is highly expensive, and you need a lot of it. And then by the time you buy 100-pound propane tanks, or maybe get yourself a 350 or whatever it is they come in that bigger bottle.
Oh, yeah. It's an insulated tank. It's actually the Canadian Wax Corporation tank. Now I think it's a used tank that one of the big commercial guys have up here, and I think I'm getting it for about half of what it's sold for, but it holds 400 pounds. You got to buy 400 pounds worth of wax just to fill a thing.
Yeah.
So,
you're going to pay.
And I think I'm going to buy somewhere around 700 pounds of wax. Go down to Philly and pick it up, buy about 700 pounds, because I think he was saying that it burns. You might as well calculate that it burns half a pound per deep. That's how much wax you use. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm rolling down the rabbit hole. We'll see where it ends up.
There's a place in upstate New York that sells it.
Knowing my luck, it'll all get hashed out just in time for a tariff to drop on my head, right?
Well, the tariffs are on hold for 30 days right now for Canada.
So yeah, he's supposed to send me a bunch of the factory guys are supposed to send me a whole bunch of stuff. I think now these guys are teamed up with Thorn. Is it Thorn that was selling a bunch of that stuff down at the Knobby show?
Yeah.
Hmm. Say what? Scott, I made the Pennsylvania State Beekeepers February newsletter. Really? Huh. I guess that being a legend does pay off.
Yeah, it does.
You are the man, the myth, the legend, Charlie.
Exactly.
Well, Charlie, we got to pull that up because I know.
That's Scott up there in Pennsylvania.
Where?
Who? Oh no, Scott. Yeah, that's Scott. He's out in the western. But
he's up in Dillsburg, outside of York.
Yeah, that's right outside of Mechanicsburg, or kind of.
I'll have
the
to look
PA newsletter is.
So is that on the website, Scott? Or is that on a website? Or Will, are you part of the Pennsylvania Beekeepers thing?
I have it. I just didn't know I was going to look for it now, but I didn't read it. Let's see.
I'm going to have to read it now. I have it somewhere here too.
Is it on the website or something, or what?
I got an email with it attached to it. They send out a couple.
Have you ever been to the PA, the Penn up there, Penn State up there when they have their thing?
I was there last year. I wasn't there this year.
Yeah,
I wanted to go last year, and this year I looked at the lineup and I'm like, eh.
Last year they had
well, take and send me Scott, send me a copy of it to me.
Here, I got it. I'm opening it. Page 42.
The man, the myth, the legend. He can even dance the bluegrass.
Absolutely.
I have witnessed such.
I have the last one on my my YouTube page. Okay.
Doug up there in Saskatchewan says it must be about my single hive management program.
So it only has 46 pages. So it sounds like you're on the last page.
So page 46 or 42?
42. Okay.
Page 42.
Oh, tap to show outline. My phone's downloading it here.
Page 41. That's what Scott says.
All right, Charlie, I'm going to struggle to get in that last apiary of mine, that last bee yard. It don't look good. Temperatures don't look good for a while.
Well, that's why I did it today. I don't normally take off, but it says 50 tomorrow, which I don't think so. And then number 2 is going to be windy tomorrow. And to me, wind is more detrimental, I think, than.
I'll have to see if I can get it in. They're showing sunshine tomorrow, though. They're showing sunshine in 44 here.
Well, for tomorrow here, they're saying it's going to be 54. And then snow Saturday, next Saturday, the 8th, and then the 12th and 13th snow, and then the 21st and 23rd snow, and the 28th snow.
Yeah, there's 15 up there. I need to get through them tomorrow. That way I know I can. You know how it just drives you crazy till you get things wrapped to a certain point.
What do you got, Nancy?
So all it is, Charlie, is a picture of the Hives for Heroes, and you're in the front, the very front of that picture.
Oh,
see your blue shirt?
Yeah, I see
the one that have the one you have on, and then Pam's across. I'm next to Pam, but there's no mention. So these pictures probably came from George Dado.
George wasn't there.
Well, their pictures, it's all about Nobby. It's all about the expo here. The page 41, 42, 43. But Charlie, I see your smiling mug, but I don't see any mention of.
He was front and center there.
Yeah. That's all we got.
Okay.
Sorry, Charlie. I'm still looking here to see if something else pops up.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm saying 70. Holy cow.
He's out there in Ohio.
I wish I was seeing 70.
Who saw 70?
That's what Tom said.
Out there in Ohio. It'll be here.
Oh. And Jeremy. Where's Jeremy? He's Ohio too?
Jeremy, are Texas?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's what I got done today as far as dealing with the bees. And all that.
$54 tonight, high of 22 tomorrow.
That's the stuff that drives them crazy, those ups and downs like that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's bad juju.
Because with
Missouri.
with the warm weather the past couple of days, and then all of a sudden
a high of 22. Oof.
Hey, Ryan says it's
henbit. Henbit and dead nettle are two different things. Two different plants. From what I understood.
No, henbit and dead nettle are two different plants altogether.
Those are two different plants. They're both on the purple. One's like a brighter, vibrant purple, and the other's like a muted purple, almost a brown.
Yep. Dead nettle is taller than henbit, and it's a purple.
More. Is that the one that's in your lawn all the time?
Yeah.
Henbit.
Can we share pictures of that, Bill?
Hang on a second, and I will.
I'm not sure how to do it as a guest.
Hit present.
Present. Share screen.
There we go. Okay. Because
I could screen.
I could do some of that too for you, Bill.
Flower. Share. And this is henbit dead nettle here, and there it is growing, but it's a low. It lays low to the ground. Oh, okay.
Click on one of the pictures. Click on one of the pictures. Like, see if you can There you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
I see that in a lot of the fallow fields up here, like after they take the crops off.
Yes.
That grows in real hard. The whole field will turn purple from that.
Yep. And then
that is what? Henbit?
Henbit. Yes. Henbit. It's a type of dead nettle.
Yeah.
It's pretty invasive.
But good for the bees.
Yeah, good for the bees. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Mike, I got the picture. There it is.
Share your screen, Nancy.
So it looks like henbit. Can you see it?
I see
henbit
what you
is.
I see the bottom of the screen. You haven't shared yet.
Oh.
I think.
You do that, Bill? I think you do that.
You got to click on it, Bill.
There we go.
There we go.
All right.
Now the one in the middle is the one I'm thinking of with a hand there. They're long. Yeah. That's
right.
That's usually in the cornfield or whatever.
That is dead nettle. Henbit dead nettle it's two different plants. This dead nettle is taller. So there it is right there to your right, Nancy. That's red dead nettle.
Here is a white. Oh, look. Oh, look at that name.
So if you go to the one you got highlighted and come over 1, 2, 3, the fourth one over to the right, that's henbit. Nope, on the top row.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I think henbit is a form of dead nettle. I think they're all dead nettles.
It's a form of dead nettle, but there's a difference between the one here in the guy's hand and henbit.
The one in the hand looks like the one that's in the cornfield or whatever.
Yeah, and hay fields and soybean fields and everything else. And your yard, those are the ones that bird scatters everywhere.
And that one there too.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to seeing.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah,
it's almost brown, or it's the leaves. The leaves are turning up here are purple, and then then it has a little flower on it. Yeah. All right.
Bill, I love that acorn beekeeping symbol up in the corner. Love it.
Yeah, I gotta earn the sponsorship money.
There you go. They make good stuff.
They do. They really do. So it's getting close for spring, so we all know what's coming. I'm going to get t-shirts made up so I'm a beekeeper. It's spring. I hate spring.
I don't know. I'm begging for spring. I'm tired of being in my basement banging bee boxes together. I'm ready to get out.
Clay's driving 11 hours. That's long if you're doing it yourself.
He's going to be working bees tomorrow up here near me.
Clay. He's driving 11 hours out to Tom and Melissa's conference thing.
Yep.
What's Clay, a commercial beekeeper?
Clay Bunner.
You're more of a sideliner, aren't you, Clay? He's just taking care of a lady's bees up here. She goes to Florida every winter.
Heck no. I've been seeing Clay around on a couple different chats. So
is that a heck no as a commercial or a heck no as a sideliner?
Yeah, really. Trying to be a sideliner. Well, if you've got over 20 hives, you're a sideliner. And that's US. I do believe that's USDA definition of a sideliner.
I don't know. They used to say 50 hives and all that kind of stuff, but
yeah,
they
change it every year.
I kind of look at it this way. It don't matter how many hives you got, how much money you making.
Exactly.
So I'm excited to announce I have a sponsor for my chat on Wednesday. And it's that guy up there, Bill. So I'll have a little sign in my corner saying Shenandoah. Shenandoah or Shenandoah?
Shenandoah.
Doah. Okay.
Like the river.
Jeremy's at 130 hives.
And it's his 4th year.
Jeez, man.
I hope you have a lot of time on your hands, Jeremy. I really do. Because it takes a lot of time to do everything you need to do. But then again, if you have a set routine where you do so many hives a day, it doesn't matter how many you have, as long as you can get them all done in a week.
The management style.
Yeah, it's your management and your routine and inspection routine and everything else. We don't make any money. We spend it on more bee stuff.
I heard
Thanks,
that.
Ilko.
Yeah, I think I had 13 hives on my 3rd year.
Well, Jeremy, if you took care of 120 hives last year, you know what I mean about the routine. So, not a lot I could say about that.
And he demorried the 3rd year.
Yeah, that's when he grew.
I was a Demery failure. I think I did Demery's my 3rd year too, but that just created more hives. I didn't get honey. I was a failure. I'm a Demery failure. So if you want to know what to do wrong, I can talk about that, but not sure I can tell you how to do it right. I can tell you how to do Demery wrong and expand, but then I guess that's not a real Demery. Then I don't know. I never did it again. I don't want to do it again. I don't trust myself.
Hey, you got to put yourself out there every now and then, Nancy.
Yeah, but Nancy, you were running what, 50 some hives at one time?
53 was the most. I did 53 and worked full time. So I'll get I think 40 is too much. I think 20 isn't enough. 30 is nice, but 40 is, I think I'm going to try to get up to 40 again. See if I can sustain 40 healthy, big hives, not skimpy little, that's what 50, when I was at 53, they weren't healthy. Like, I don't have enough forage for that.
Right.
I can manage it, but I don't have enough forage, and I'm not doing out yards like that. I have to take stuff to. I don't have a truck, and I'm not buying a truck, and all of that. I have out yards, but they're owned by other people, and they have all the supplies there in a shed. So I show up, and I light up and go do what I need to do, and then leave everything there. And so that's my idea of an out yard.
Now that's Doug Longman.
Yeah. So he's right. I mean, until Mother Nature steps in and screws your plan totally up and your routine totally up, you're fine.
Yeah.
Doug, but when she steps in and says, no, you're not doing it that way.
I was going to say, I always have a great plan until I pop the first lid, and then it's all out the window.
All right, here's a
That's
question.
Why I don't keep notes. That's why I say I don't keep notes, because it doesn't matter what you wrote down. And I know where my queen, I know my queens. I know which queen is in which hives. And I don't have that much diversity anymore. They're basically all just my mutts at this many years in. So but I know where they originated from.
So Dodd House has a good question about the Demeray split. The reason you do use 2 queen excluders is because you want a queen excluder over the bottom box to keep that queen in that box. And you want a queen excluder at the top underneath of the old brood box for at least the first 7 days, because you're going to have queens hatch out. If you don't go back in 7 days and kill all those queen cells or remove them and use them, you're going to have a queen take over up there. And, or if she doesn't take over, she's going to want to come to the bottom box, and you're trying to keep her from doing that. So
I thought
that's why you use 2 queen excluders.
I thought a virgin could pass through a queen excluder. Am I wrong on that?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
But so you want to just make sure you don't have any. Yeah.
Now, Doug,
if you don't get them, go ahead.
Doug, he runs 300 hives, and now it's him and his son, and he's got an easy loader and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But being up in Canada like he is, he doesn't put his in a barn either. He groups them up and tight for them on a pallet, I think, and he puts wraps around them and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, Mr. Burns posted a video yesterday. I think it was.
What Burns are we talking about?
I want to say David Burns.
Yeah, David from Indiana.
Yeah. And in his video, he was telling people to put the bees in their garages or put them in their sheds during the winter.
Not me, buddy.
Oh my.
Oh yeah.
Did he really say that?
Not in so many words, but the title of it was "Put Your Bees in a Building." That was the title of it.
Was it clickbait? Does he say that, and then in the video at the very end he says, "No, don't do that." Like those guys that have like clickbait where
I never make it all the way through his video.
Yeah, virgins can pass through excluders, and other mated queens can also pass through excluders if you use your hive tool. If you bend it, or if they're slimming her down. If they're slimming her down to swarm, she'll fit through too.
Yes, she will.
So sometimes I've had queens. I've had 2 queen hive, and the second queen will go up and lay up top, and the other one will be down below, because I've had them laying above queen excluders.
Hey, Matt from Sandy Valley.
Matt just put out a video.
Nice video too, Matt.
Yep.
Matt was at the party, Bill. Matt and Alicia.
Yeah. So, how's your Facebook page coming, Nancy?
My Facebook page. Oh, the North American Beekeepers?
Uh-huh.
Or which one?
Yes, that one. How's that coming?
Yeah, I haven't figured I have to figure out how to do it, because it's attached to my original Harleysville Beekeeper, and I don't want them attached, and I don't know how to separate them. So
well, I don't know.
Anyone use their wife's kitchen?
I don't have any good advice for that.
No, it needs to be somebody that knows Facebook needs to take it over.
Yeah.
Like, needs to just
hey, Mark.
Take it. Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark. Yeah, that would probably be a good idea because then that way they can just
ask a 15-year-old. Yeah. Yeah. I have an 18-year-old grandson, but
yeah, there you
I
go.
don't
Talk
know.
to him.
Yeah.
He could probably answer your questions. Most of them are tech savvy.
Hey, Bracken.
Yeah, I want to turn over the admin. I just registered the name. I don't want to do it. I don't want to. I don't even have Facebook on my phone. I have it on the computer. I go on in the morning, and that's the end of it. So yeah, I need to. I'd love to turn it over to somebody that wants to manage it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18-year-old Grant
Yep.
Barker's Bees. What's his name? Charlie Barker's Bees out there
Bracken.
in Utah.
Bracken. He's out in Utah.
Bracken. He's funny. 18-year-old grandson was my next suggestion.
Hey, Bracken, are you working tonight or are you off tonight?
What's his time difference from me over here in Philly? What would be that difference for Utah? 2.5 hours? 6:45.
Come on in here, Bracken.
Didn't he truck his bees to California?
Yeah, he's got 40 or 50 hives out in Cali.
Yeah, I'm curious to watch how he makes out with all that.
He's got them on the almonds, as far as I know.
So I heard a rumor. That's why I want Bracken to come in here today. Come in here tonight.
Oh,
I ask him a question.
Rumors. Da-da-da-da.
So
it's 1908.
I'm hearing
2 hours difference. So the rumor that I heard today, I don't know how true it is, but I heard it. So I'm going to ask the question. So maybe somebody in here can answer it. That there are fewer bees going to California this year because of the smoke that's still hanging around from these wildfires. There's not as many bees going to the almonds.
I didn't hear anything about that at all.
If somebody can respond to that with a informed answer, that would be great.
I heard the pollen bloom is early. I heard the almond bloom is early. And I heard they were looking hard for hives, but I don't. And then I turn around on Facebook and I see guys offering up hives, and I don't see anybody taking them up on it. So I don't know.
Well, I also heard that the contract prices were going sky high on it. People were saying you're going to have to offer more money because I'm not willing to put my bees at risk. So I'm just trying to confirm it. So
I agree. I'd love to know what's going on a little bit.
Yeah. So Bracken, do you have your bees out there on the almonds?
Yeah. He went out there about a month ago.
Okay.
And he's close enough he can truck them out on his own gooseneck trailer.
Right. Yeah, he was in here talking about taking them out there. Now,
he hit that damn snow up in there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Charlie, how about that? You got to chain up your trailer.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, Matt or Melissa or Tom or Melissa. I don't know who's typing, but I thought it was because there was losses this year too. So I didn't hear it was because of the smoke. I thought it was
heard
because
losses.
of losses.
I see. Here's the difference.
It was $200. It's been $200 for last couple years. I thought
for quite a while.
$220,
$225 to $250 would be another animal though. Oof.
Yeah, it would.
$50.
I remember.
Yeah.
I thought it was $250. Well, how they estimate? I never, that's my question about all that. You get that National Honeybee Survey, and you're supposed to remember everything on that survey that you did 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I find it, I would like to take, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it accurate as much as possible.
Yep.
And
Yeah, you're seeing the losses on there, 60%, 70%.
Yeah, but I'm wondering how accurate the data that's coming in from the beekeepers, how accurate is that?
And isn't it too early? Like, what part of the country is going to have real accurate numbers today on February 3rd?
Not many.
I don't know. I'm asking because I don't know.
Well, the numbers that you're seeing this year are last year's numbers.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now that makes sense.
So and the estimated.
I got the different areas. You got your commercial boys, you got your sidelines, and your backyard.
Right. The guys that are running.
They never really hammered the backyard that much because they, they
don't really care about the backyard beekeeper, and then not so much about the sideline. Or what these numbers that I'm seeing are from USDA. The average loss went up to 55.3 or 4 for 2024, up from 40%. Because it had been in California. It had been holding at 40%. That for 3 years it held at 40%. Now it's up to 55 something.
See, the commercial guys over here, where I'm at in the east, they don't go to almonds.
They're blueberries and cranberries and all that stuff up towards Maine.
Yeah, they'll do, yeah, but they don't even do that. The commercial guys don't really migratory here.
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
All right.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, the commercial guys over here outside of Philly, they don't migrate.
Chaining up a trailer doesn't sound like fun.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You're a little light.
Sweet. Sorry, I had to get some kids taken care of.
Yeah, it's only 7. It's 20 after 7 there. 20 or 17 after 7 for you. So you're still putting little ones to bed.
Well, I don't know if putting them to bed really counts.
There she is. Hello.
We're working on it. How's everybody doing?
Good. You?
Good. Oh, not too bad. Busy. But aren't we all, right?
It's coming. So what's the story on your bees in California? Have you heard anything back on what's going on out there?
Yeah, they're in the almonds right now. They're looking really good. My broker guy, he told me that I needed to, before I come and pick them up, I need to bring nuke boxes down because they're busting at the seams already. So he wants to split them and try to get them split before I bring them home, which we'll try to do that because if I bring them home too early, I'm just going to have to feed them here in Utah because there's not going to be much forage till May, maybe end of April, 1st of May. So if I bring them home too soon, then I'll be just dumping syrup into them. And he wants to, he talked to me about potentially taking them to a cherry almond or a cherry blossom, cherry orchard. So the cherry orchard will be done before I was going to go pick my bees up anyways. So I told him, throw them in the cherries. So he'll take them from the almonds, throw them in the cherries, and then I'll go pick them up. But they're doing good. He says they're doing really good. They're heavy. They're, brooding up a lot better than my ones here in Utah are doing.
Boy, that's what you wanted to hear, though. And if you can catch a little extra on cherries, that's great.
Yeah. Yep. And it's the contract for the cherries won't be much, but they're going to be down there regardless. So they might as well be in an orchard making a little bit of money rather than just sitting in a holding pen or a holding, whatever you call it, holding corral.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call a holding yard for bees. Hey, Charlie.
Hey,
Bill.
Hey,
Nancy, Will.
My question there is, I was watching the video and you were checking them single chamber boxes, around your house there and stuff. And I mean, I know you feed them in the fall, but is there enough feed actually to get them through the winter in your area?
In a single nuke?
I think it was they weren't nukes. They were like single brood
Oh,
chamber.
just my singles. Yeah. Yeah, I've got them through the winter like that before. You got to pump it into them quite a bit. They've got to pretty much plug out their brood nest and fill everything with syrup. And then sugar cakes or fondant patties. You know, those usually I'll put a couple on those just for insurance. It's not really their main source. But.
Oh man, I know you had a couple dead outs there and stuff. I guess they just got small and couldn't take care of it.
And some I purchased from a guy that he was getting out of the business because he was allergic to them, and so I talked him into a pretty good deal. Purchased all of his equipment and what bees were left, but I knew getting them that it was going to be because he hadn't been able to take care of them, you know, due to health reasons and stuff. So, but
yeah, Steve out there down is cherries hard on your bees. I know, like your almonds in there. I mean, they don't really get a whole lot of food out of that, do they? As far as sustaining the hives, or they have to feed them.
He's feeding them right now. I think they're getting pumped, but as soon as hold on, something's happening to my screen here. I don't know what happened. I need an 18-year-old grandson.
You got a big helper there in your lap.
Yeah, she's not. Yeah, they get a little bit off of them. You know, I know they get a lot of pollen off that almond. You know, that really gives them a juice. As far as the cherries, I usually bring them back to Utah, and my buddy, he's got a couple orchards. He does apricots, sweet cherries, pie cherries, and peaches. He's got about 30 or 40 acres of that, and I usually take them down there, and no, I haven't had a problem with them in the cherries. Or
I know I talked to Todd. He said that honey from the almonds is terrible tasting.
Yeah, I've tried a little bit. It's really dark. It's like molasses. But I don't have. I usually just split them and don't do a whole lot with the honey or the resources that come from that. You know, I just give that back to the bees.
Hey, Glade, there's Glade's on there. He's out there in Utah too.
Oh yeah, he's down in the corner, way down there. He's like,
I was gonna say, what area of Utah are you located in?
I'm like 15 minutes from the Idaho border, so very up north. He's north in the corner he's in, but he's
Aren't you close to Salt Lake City? I think it is.
Yeah, I'm an hour north of Salt Lake. Yeah, and Glade, he's northeast Utah. I'm more north, just central, kind of.
Central.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that Glade, I seen his video where he had been checking his sugar. He had a couple of them there that had ate up everything, and the other ones, they were on it, but they weren't totally, completely eaten out.
Yeah, today I needed to get in, and I might tomorrow, but man, we're having some crazy weather up here. It was 62 degrees today on February, and I seen a mosquito today. Like, that is uncommon in February in northern Utah. Like,
waiting for the shoe to drop.
We were working in our t-shirts today at work.
So those numbers right there are listed on Auburn University's website. The 13-year average for loss rate up and until last year was 40.3. Starting in 2023 and 2024, the average loss was 55.7% of their colonies. And I just posted the link to Auburn's paper if anybody's interested and wants to go look at it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I heard that this year it flip-flopped. that for the first time, commercial guys were having more loss than the hobby guys, hobby sideliner guys.
Yep.
Mm. Hey, Frank. Hey, Glade, why don't you come on in here and get all the Utah boys on tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had.
It's early. I'm going to hop off. It's getting late, so I'll hop off, but I'm going to still listen.
All right.
Well,
good night, Nancy.
I'll see you.
Nancy.
Yeah.
Bye,
Nancy. Boy, she's awful cute.
Yeah, she's a hoot.
Yes, those numbers that I just had up there, yes, probably 70% of it was commercial guys, their loss. So
I don't know how to see the chat and the video at the same time.
What are you on now?
An iPad. I don't know where
that's
my
why.
phone is. So, okay.
You're on that Apple component.
Yeah, my phone seems to be MIA at the moment.
Well, just come on in for a few minutes, Glade.
Yeah, come on in, Glade.
Stella.
Let her come in. She might have an opinion.
Yeah, she's chewing with her mouth open, driving me nuts. She's discovered bubblegum.
There you go.
It's the new. Okay. Nobody wants to hear.
All right, Tom and Melissa, I see your message.
Apple junk.
Easy now.
It's a free iPad, okay? So I'm not complaining.
There he is. There's another Utah beekeeper. Now you're not alone.
Oh, good. I was feeling a little left out there. Oh, Glade.
If he's just on an Apple device now, too, right?
I'm sure he's not. Is that a East Coast thing?
No Apple in my house.
No Apple in my house. What? You don't have Apple? Oh.
Oh, they have Apple stuff out here too, but it's Microsoft is more prevalent out here, I think.
Is it?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people like Apple phones and all that kind of stuff, iPhones, and they always told me that they were always easier to use, but I guess it's whatever you get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. My work supplies my electronics, so I don't really complain because I get whatever they decide I'm
The
going to
price
use.
is right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the price is right. So
Glade, what's the presentation you're doing for Utah?
They've asked me to kind of present on what I do as a small sideliner. Just kind of what I do that I think works and is successful, and maybe some tips for those that are wanting to go from maybe a backyard beekeeper and grow a little bit into the sideline realm. So that's what I'm trying to put together.
where are you doing that at, Blade?
That'll be at the Utah Beekeepers Association conference, February 21st and 22nd in Salt Lake.
In Salt Lake.
Yep.
Do you have any info on that you could send me?
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot it over to me. I need to get more involved with that stuff. I'm not involved in a lot of that big group stuff.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, lost.
Yeah.
Will, where are you from?
I'm Central PA. I'm about, what do you think, Charlie? 50 minutes north of you?
Oh, at least an hour.
Yeah. Along the Susquehanna River.
Will's pushing sideliner / commercial.
Oh, sweet.
Starting to. Working on it.
Yeah. Thinking
Spending
about
plenty of money on bees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you are.
You got a channel?
No, not yet. I think
No.
I'm going to get one started here once we get into bee season more.
Yeah. Now, Will, I mean, now you can ask Bracken there. He's got all kinds of forklifts and loaders. And of course, you use all tractor stuff?
Yeah.
Will was thinking about a skid steer, a track model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For loading bees. That's what you use, don't you? Or is it a wheel model?
No, well, we got a wheel model, but I mostly use my tractor. And then down in the almonds, my buddy's got a unit down there that he uses, and it's just a little garden tractor. That's what he unloads them with. But no, mostly I just use a regular old tractor to load them. I want to buy a skid steer. My father-in-law has a wheeled skid steer, but it's super jerky and
yeah, I had a medium-sized farm tractor. I had a Case JX75 that was 4-wheel drive. That was a really nice mid-sized tractor, utility tractor. But
yeah,
seeing everything, it was so far out in front of you on the tractor when you have the forks on it. That's kind of why. And when I did that, I mean, that was great, but I spent my whole time swiveling around the back when I was blowing snow, and my whole time looking back over my shoulder when I was brush hogging. And I thought, a skid steer where it's all right out in front of you, maybe where you can see it a little bit better, and they make every attachment you can imagine for the front of a skid steer anymore.
Yeah,
they do.
Yep.
So I'm thinking tracked. Yeah, I'm thinking tracked about 8,000 pounds, somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy. I don't know if you're a good enough operator, I think this wouldn't be a super issue, but he was explaining to me tracks versus the wheels, and with sensible loads, because I was talking about bees, and he's like, oh, that seems, the thing with a track is if you go over a log or some sort of bump, you'll have a tipping point to where it gets and then it tips. He says, if you're not used to that, he says, where a wheeled one, you can walk that first wheel over it, walk the second wheel over it, and you're a little bit better. But with that track, until you get used to it, he says he's had a lot of people complain or say that they've gone up and then it, it breaks over that weight.
Yeah.
Because it does. It has that tipping point. Whereas the wheeled one, you can walk it a little bit.
Yeah.
I
don't know. My cousin was in it sideliner wise, and he had a wheeled version of a skid loader, and then he ended up putting tracks on it because, you get a little bit of water and you get a little bit of slop and the wheels really start to slip. And I've had that issue with a Bobcat manufactured one that I ran for a little while, and I think I'm going to try and do tracks. I'm hoping to do a Takahauchi or whoever it is, like a TL6 or something like that. Something around, I think that's right around 8,000 pounds. So
yeah,
buy once, cry once.
Yep.
Whatever size you think you need to go at least
a little bigger,
maybe 2 sizes bigger.
Yeah, right. I know. And I bought a 10-ton trailer last week. Thanks.
Yeah.
So Glade, what do you say you're going to teach the backyard to get into sideliner or?
Yeah, just kind of what I do in my operation, and then I'll have some tips about what I think if you're thinking about moving from backyard to sideliner, some of the things that I would do, and probably some of the things that I did that I probably wouldn't do. But
right. How are you moving your hives?
I don't unless I have to.
I seen that one video you were trying to move, and I said, man, he needs my hive lifter to roof that.
I was wishing I had a hive lifter, and I've almost bought one. Oh, I would like to, but I just haven't quite pulled the trigger yet. But I just don't, I try not to move them very often. And typically when I'm moving one, I'm only moving one medium box, because I run mediums.
Yeah, I do too.
And I'm just moving one medium box, and I can handle that myself. That's not too bad. But when it's stacked 3 high and it's full of honey, those are a little harder to move by yourself.
Yeah.
Yep, they are.
Yep.
But I've kind of figured out, if you just take your time and not get too antsy about it. My hardest part is just getting them down off my hive stand. And so, either the day before, at least a couple of hours before I go to move it, I'll kind of take the hive apart and put the bottom board on the ground, and then put the hive back together and let them sit there, preferably the day, and then that evening when I come to move it, the bees have all reoriented back to their home. They're fine, and I can just get a hand truck up underneath that hive and move it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ratchet straps.
Yep. Ratchet straps.
Tighten it down.
Yep.
Close off the entrance. Be as gentle as you can.
Yep.
And then I just have a couple of ramps four-wheeler ramps to get it up into the back of my truck, and then I go move it, and on the other end I'll do the same thing. I'll just drop it right next to where I'm gonna put it on my hive stand, and I'll just leave them there that night, and open the door for them, and then the next time I come back to the yard, I'll take the hive apart enough and set it back up on the stand. And so it's kind of a process, but I don't move mine enough that it's that big of a deal. I'm usually only moving 1 or 2 at a time.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
You need to get all foam filled tires when you get it, if you're going to get a wheeled one.
Yeah, agreed.
I just priced that B3. It was like $1,400 and then $250 on shipping.
$1,400 for what?
That B3, that hive lifter.
Oh,
that's one I got. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading Tom via Honeybees, where the Bobcat T100. I guess that's that, like the mule.
Yeah.
A little one.
Yep.
I'm trying to decide if I want the one like you have, Charlie, or the other one that just lifts straight up and down.
Mine's like a forklift.
Yeah.
Like all what you just said there. I take and put a strap around that whole hive. As long as you don't cover up the handholds, go in, grab that whole thing, and lift that whole hive up and walk away.
Can you put those arms underneath the hive and pick the whole thing up?
Well, when you say underneath it, I mean, you're going to grab it by the box and then strap everything together as a unit, and then just lift it up.
You don't have to lift
that was the first thing I did with mine when I got it. It was about this time, and I had one of them stands behind there that was rotten, and I went up and I put the strap around. You kind of put it so those flapper things can go into those handholds, and you can grab it. You don't have to grab it on the bottom box. You can grab it up on the middle box, and then raise it up. And I brought it back. The only thing with that machine, I had to put a medium down on the ground in order to release it, because it won't go all the way to the ground. And I don't remember now. It might have been the bottom box I grabbed it by. And then I went around the other one, picked up the other hive, left it on the machine, and put a new rack on and leveled it all up, and put the 2 hives back on all by myself. And
Does anybody have
cleats? I don't think so.
Does anybody have any experience with the other it's called Beehive Lifter. It's beehivelifters.com. It looks more like a hand truck with.
It's American made.
Yeah, it's American made.
I've seen pictures of it.
Doesn't Man Lake have them for like just under $700 or something like that?
I don't know. I haven't noticed anything.
Yeah, I think,
on that.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I think Man Lake has them for about $700.
Well, you can get a beehive lifter that's electric.
Yep, right there.
Yep, for $1,650 directly from Beehive Lifters.
You know what? I got a friend of mine. Before I bought mine, I went to his house. Yeah, there's that.
Right there.
Easy lift.
Oh, that's that thing where you just kind of jack it up and pull it around.
Yeah. No, not that.
That's kind of worthless as far as I'm concerned. But the one you're talking about had electric. He didn't want to get the electric, spend the money. Of course, when he got it, he was sorry he didn't get the electric because he was an older fella and he had to hand crank the darn thing. And anyway, and then it also the tires, the size of the size of them, they were small, and he modified this thing tremendously, put bigger tires on it so it would roll easier and stuff like that. And then he went to, I guess, like a regular electric winch system, that you got for a boat or whatever, a camper, and put that all on there and everything. And I mean, by the time he did all that modification,
he would have been
better off by the darn thing and be done with it.
Buy once, cry once.
Yep, you're right.
But like I say, I looked at those for 2 years. The one that Boris makes up in Manitoba, Canada. And he's got the B1, the B2, and the B3. Between the 2 and the 3 is one's hydraulic, which is what I got. And the other one's got like screws that kind of make the arms go up. The B1 is more like a hand truck model.
Right. That's the one I was looking at more. Just because of some of my places might be a little harder to have that much room behind the hive to get.
Yeah, you got to have at least 8 or 10 feet behind that hive.
And I don't have that in all my locations. So
yeah, and it's of course all of them, but mine, it's a nice flat ground is where it really shines. Of course, most anything on flat ground works well. So
ground's not too bad in most of my yards, but
you're pretty flat out there, it seems to be.
One's a little rough,
but the wheels on it are nice and big and round. And
like the ones they show in the picture, or are they wider? Because the ones that they're showing in the picture look like maybe they're 3 inches wide.
Is this from from
that's the Boris apiaries?
Yeah, well, yeah. It depends on which one. You got the front wheels, which are big,
and the back wheels are little.
Yeah, and the back wheels are little. And then he's got the regular hand truck model, which should have pretty good sized tires on
it. Same size as the B3.
Should be. There's a spec sheet there someplace.
And I'd be looking at the B1 electric model.
Yeah, I mean, it just, people come on the chat, especially the newbies, and they're going to get a hand crank extractor. And I says, look, is this 1925 or is this 2025? That's what I got right there.
Yep, that's the one you got. See the tires on it?
Yep.
Is that the same size tires you've got?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But like I say, I don't know. I mean, I was watching Joey's videos, the hand truck model. If you got a landing board, it seemed like to me you can't reach far enough to grab the handles to lift it from the front end, which that was the first lift I did, was from the front, not the back. And whereas mine is more like a front end loader, the arms are out front,
Right.
and it has much more reach.
Yeah.
So that's it's trade-offs. You got to have a little bit more room. I think both of them. I mean, some of the things I was looking at. Okay, they came in, and they when you take that B1 and flip it up, you're on the rack, I guess you would call it. It goes up and down, and the wheels are up off the ground when you start to catch the box. And then when you raise the box straight up and you start to lay it back down, then your dolly wheels engage. And that's why I did a lot of, see, that's the thing about, maybe that's what I'm good about, is that I'm a detail person. And it's like if you watch my videos about my machine, I'm telling you how you got to set it and stuff. And like mine, I found that you raise the arms up to a certain height, you pick up with the handles and tip it down and go in and grab that box with those handles and let them flop. And then it's sitting there on a teeter-totter effect. The big wheels are the teeter-totter. Huh?
You're just levering it.
I don't have to raise it up with a hydraulic. All I got to do is push down on the back wheels, and it brings that box right up where it should be. And when I want to put it back on the hive, I just pull the handles up, and you can gently put that box right back on top. It isn't, whereas the dolly method, from what I can see of it, in order to raise it up and down and put it on, you have to be running your motor up and down to do all your work.
Right.
It's not so much of a lever action at all. So, and then I know that I talked to Mike Berry for 2 years about it, and he was talking about where you had to have your box kind of up in the air. Usually a forklift, you always want to run low. And if you run it up high in the air, you got too much top heavy weight. And it's somewhat that way. But my main thing is when I go with mine, I go in, I pick up a honey super or a couple honey supers. And if I'm getting into, let's say, the brood chamber, I just wheel it back, and it's at that level where it's throwing the weight to those back wheels, and it'll just sit there. Of course, you have to see whether it's flat enough or level enough so the thing don't tip over. But I really like mine. I have a lot of shoulder problems a lot of times, and I've had lower back problems for years. So I'm very conscious of how I lift and how much I do. And I really like mine. It was well worth the money and all that. It's just like my bottling tank. I got that. Used to carry, half filled 5-gallon buckets, with a what do you call that? The spout on the bottom, and fill your honey bottles and stuff. And then it wasn't warm enough and it wouldn't flow. And when I got my bottling tank, I was like, I should have had that 10 years ago. Because when I first started, I'm looking at the price. Max Ant was what the smallest one was $1,200, and I'm like, why would anybody spend $1,200 when you can use a bucket and a honey? That's what I couldn't think of the darn name. A honey gate, and do it that way.
Well, that's what I still use.
Yeah. But something, when you're feeling, I filled 26 pounds tonight. I think I filled 3 different times last week.
How much honey do you make in a year, Charlie?
How much I made over a little over 1,000 pounds this year, and I'm hoping. And I added another 4 highs. Hopefully, I'm get around 1,500. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with demand. Demand is here lately. It's just been something else.
I'm right around that 1,500 pound.
Yeah, I need 1,500 pounds to keep up.
I could use 2,500 pounds, and I probably still couldn't keep up.
Really?
Yeah, I could sell every bit of honey I make.
Yeah, I can too.
That's a
Or
great
I
place
do.
to be.
Huh?
That's a great place to be, being able to retail every pound you make.
Yep.
I do. I do. I mean, I sell. Oh, I don't know. I think with January this year, I sold like 130 something pounds of honey for the month. I mean, that ain't a whole. That doesn't sound like a lot. And you know, if I'm not going out to fairs and paying fees, or everybody comes to me. So
yeah,
you know, I mean, it's sideline income. So,
Glade, how do you sell yours mostly? Word of mouth?
I've done farmers market in the summer in Vernal, which is another 30 miles east of me. But there's actually a store over there that's it's a local shop that a gal's put together, and they have nothing but local vendors in the store. And so they do it kind of a consignment type arrangement. Essentially, I'm just paying them for a booth space, and they're manning the store. They're dealing with the sales tax and all that. I just keep it stocked, and then at the end of the month we settle up, and that's been pretty good for me. It's nice just to have a little steady income, and I'm not having to man a booth. I'm not having to be the salesman. I've got a couple other places that I can put some honey, and I do put honey. And next year I may not even do farmers market next year. A little bit of advertising on my end, and I think I could still sell everything I make without the farmers market.
I mean, the biggest thing I have to say, I got an advantage over most people. I have sort of a storefront with the mill and everything, and people don't have a problem coming in. Of course, I got my phone number on the list, and I'll get the local pizza delivery guy calls me up at 8 o'clock at night, and it might be Saturday night or something like that, or let's say 7:30. Hey, I'm in the area delivering the pizza. Can I get a couple pounds of honey? I'm like, yeah, come on.
Yep.
That's awesome.
But I'm that way. I don't care. You got the money, I got the time.
Right.
And that kind of stuff. And then I had, like, this last couple of weeks, I had my cousin. She had a neighbor across the road, and the last 2 weeks she's bought, or she's she got over 20 some pounds of honey, in 2 weeks or so, a little over 22 pounds of honey or something like that, which, one person buying that much is pretty good.
I had a guy that was commenting on, I wish I could remember off top hand who it was, but he said he put his honey in hardware stores. Like out here we have Ace Hardware and Greer's Hardware and stuff like that. And he says he could not keep enough honey in the hardware stores. He did better in the hardware stores than he did the little snack shop, or the little stores that he was in. I can't remember who it was. I'd have to look him up. But
yeah,
he says if you can get it into a hardware, and I was like, that's quite interesting. So I got honey into our local co-op. It's a farm, co-op. They sell fertilizer and tractor parts and all, just everything. But they gave me a little space, and I just take it in there and put it on. It's pretty nice. And then I just got lucky and had another lady that, same as Glade was saying there, it's all local vendors, it's all local stuff, and same thing, same exact way. And it was nice. I had a lady call for wax the other day, and I said, because I gave all my wax to this lady at the vendor, and I was busy running around, and I just says, this store in Tremont has it. And she's like, sweet, I live right down the road. So she ran and bought wax from them. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is the way to go. But
yeah, I don't know. It just, I mean, I don't do farmers markets or anything like that. And I sell all I can sell. I can sell everything I can make and then some.
yeah.
And,
is it the same with you guys as far, sorry to interrupt, but like my biggest, and this might sound silly, but it's the same people every time. Like I have the same clientele, but they buy a ton of honey. And once they start using it, it's like, that's the honey I'm using. And then you get the ones that use it for baking and stuff. So they purchase more, but it doesn't seem like I get, in the last little while, I haven't got a whole lot of new customers, but I have a very consistent amount.
Yep.
You build up a clientele. I mean, there's a following. I think the biggest thing for me is they'll come back. You got the best tasted honey we've ever tasted. Nothing like what we bought at the store. And that's where my spiel comes in. Well, you're buying that Chinese honey. That's why it tastes goofy.
Funny honey.
Funny honey, and then I tell them, I said, look at the back of the bottle. It comes from India and Argentina. And I says, it's a known fact that their sales of honey distributing have went up, but their amount of beekeepers have not changed any, which we know that China they can't come through directly to the United States, so they have to come through the back door.
Yep.
And all that. I mean, that's right from the the Honey Producers Association will tell you that. And so anyway, I tell them that, and that makes them a good customer. And then I also have the cure for the allergies and stuff like that. And they've already told me that, I got one guy that's come in here a couple of times and his allergies were terrible. And he said it took him 2 or 3 months of taking it, and it's diminished considerably. And I've had a bunch of people, come here for that reason. And I don't know, they just get hooked on it. It's quality honey. It's good tasting honey. It's locust and poplar trees. It's a little bit more poplar than it is locust this year because it rained about the time the bloom hit. And if it's a little lighter honey, I know, let's see, Gary talked about they like the light spring honey. And I'm like, yeah, that's what they like.
Yes.
It seems to be sweeter. And as far as a fall flow for me, for my area, I just don't get the fall flow. And I got a friend of mine in Pennsylvania, which is right next to the Susquehanna River, and he's about 25 miles from me, or 20 miles, I'll say. And he'll get 500 pounds in the fall, but it's BB trees, and along the river, there's a lot of plant life because it's non-human touch because of the big high banks. You got a lot of wildflower, a lot of wild whatever growing there. And but that's, like they say, beekeeping is local.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're doing. Now, Glade, I can't figure out. I look at that picture and I'm like, where is the bees going to get anything out there in the middle of the desert?
That's a fall picture. It does get a little bit greener out here.
Does it get green? I mean, all I see is brackens fields, and they look like they're ready to burn.
Glade's pictures back there.
Yeah, they look like just like that. I'm like, everything's brown.
Beautiful tan dirt color.
And then I watched Todd out there in Loma Vista Bee. He's out there in Fresno, California, and it's the first time I've seen in his videos his grass is green. I'm like, my goodness, it must have rained out there. or unless one of them helicopters drops some water on top of him.
Green or black, the only two colors.
Huh?
Nothing. Either green or it's burned.
I heard a little bit of that, Bracken.
I can't remember if I think this picture is actually spring, like March, before things really start to kick off and green up, and the snow's gone. But
oh yeah,
now that you say I got one hive there sitting on the ground. This one right here that I'm moving. That's exactly how I do them. I move them to the ground, and then I put the ratchet strap on them and get the dolly and reel them in.
I got to get going, so thanks for having me on here.
All right, good to see you, Bracken.
Hey, Bracken.
Haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah,
it's good seeing you.
All
right, we'll catch you.
One.
Yep.
See ya.
See you,
again. There we go.
It seems like if I can sell somebody a pound of honey, I'm going to sell them 6 pounds of honey. You know what I mean? They're going to keep coming back, and then I run out of honey, you know. And
yeah.
Then they come back around, you know, in late summer when I have honey again, and sell them a bunch. And
well, the first that never run out of honey.
Yeah, never run out of honey. That's for sure.
Well, that's what your Demare method's going to help me with this year, Charlie.
I hope so.
I hope so.
It should increase it by 30. I mean, I used to get 50 pounds. Now I'm getting 80 average. I'm hoping for if everything lined up and the weather and the bloom, I would really like to get 100. You know, if you could get them super strong hives, like some of them ones that I was into today, where, you know, you give them, if all my hives were like that one where I threw a whole pound pollen patty in there and fed them like that, I'm like, man, that's a rock and roll hive right there. That's what I'm looking for. You know, a lot of folks, I watch their videos and say, oh, look at all the bees. And I'm like, no, that's just an average looking hive for me. It's like, you know, there's bee coverage over top of the frames was really nice. It wasn't to the point I couldn't see the frames, but it was pretty decent. And I'm like, well, that's what you want. You know,
well, see, Charlie's not telling you the whole thing. He's not telling you how he does it every year. He gets all that honey. He goes out there and does a live chicken sacrifice, points the head of the chicken toward the south, and then cuts it off. And he puts a little chicken blood on all the hives, so that
now Bill, you're making sense to me now, because I've seen him dance. So apparently he goes out there and dances at just the appropriate time.
Yeah, he does.
He goes
that honey dance.
Now I'm starting to figure you out.
It's got to rain the honey down, you know?
Yeah.
Gets a little dry. I just call Charlie up and say, hey, man, when are you going to your next bluegrass thing? Right?
Exactly.
We need a little
rain.
rain.
JW. Yeah, so that's how he does it every year. He's just not telling you the whole story. See?
I need to call Harvey on all this, Charlie. I need the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good day.
That must be my problem. I can't dance, so.
That's what it is. I can't either.
Yeah, well, you know, some of us have rhythm and some of us don't.
There you go.
We need a bluegrass band, and they need to have a fiddle.
Yep.
And then Charlie will dance, and then we'll get the rain when we need it.
And a banjo.
Fiddle and a banjo.
Okay.
You got that? You got a band.
Yep.
So
I got my Super DFM in today. That came in today that I ordered. So kind of anxious to get that on the bees this spring. Give them a little boost.
Everybody's talking about that.
Yep.
What is it, once a month?
Yeah, you're only supposed to put it on in spring and fall.
Okay.
It's a
teaspoon?
Tablespoon per hive. And it's sprinkled on top of the frame.
Just stick it in with a hive tool like Bob does and sprinkle it on.
There you go. Exactly.
They don't like being sprinkled very well, I'll tell you that.
Have you used it, Glade?
I've used it. I like it.
What do you find with it? I mean, did you see any difference in it?
I'm still up. That's still up for debate. I've used it and my hives look good. Is that why they looked good? I don't know yet. I'm not 100% convinced, but when I have used it, I haven't had problems. So,
well, have you had problems of whatever type of problem you're talking about, or?
well, just sometimes you get a hive that just, the queen looks good. She's laying, her pattern's okay, but she's really not putting out, like, the hive's not really growing, but there doesn't seem to be any real issue with the hive. You're not seeing any EFB, you're not seeing chalk brood, you're not seeing, but the hive just kind of seems to be just kind of stagnant.
Well,
taking off. And
I was going to ask you.
And I don't know that the probiotic makes a huge difference, but when I've used it, and I come back a couple of weeks later and I look at my hives, I'm like, these bees they really look pretty good. Is that what's done it? I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm still using it.
Right.
Have you tried any Apis biologics yet?
Oh, I like the Apis biologic stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
There's
no snake oil in that.
No.
Ain't no snake oil there at all. That's the only thing on the market right now. I can say, definitely want to use that.
Yep.
Night, Clay.
Night, Clay.
I love it, especially for the pollen supplement. I got pollen supplement, and the bees just go down on it.
Yeah, I just put.
Yeah, I was telling everybody earlier. I was putting it out today, pollen subs, and I had a little bit of Apis left over, so I mixed that in with it. Man, they were tearing me up to get to it. So
maybe that's what I need to do. Buy a bag of the pollen powder.
Good luck finding it.
Throw that in along with the stuff from Man Lake.
I like Ultra B with the Apis biologic in it.
Really?
Yep, that's what I love. If I mix that up, the bees just go down on it.
And you're talking about in a dry powder form?
Yeah, I'll usually buy it in dry, but last year I was in a hurry and I knew I was going to need some pollen patties. I usually have to give them a little bit of pollen in the fall, or at least I like to, just to make sure that last couple of rounds of brood have everything they need.
Yeah.
And so I bought the Man Lake patties with the Apis biologic in it, and they were gone. You throw them in the hive and you come back, they're gone.
Well, I've been buying the what is it, Bill?
The global.
Yeah, those are good patties too.
I buy them through Cayman down there the last couple of years, and I was just telling them, I don't know whether you were on earlier, but I fed all my hives tonight and or today, and with global, and they had global on there for about a week and a half, and they're most of them were just gone, and it was I'll say a half pad. Some of the really super strong ones, I threw a whole pad of global on there. I know Nancy, she uses Super DFM, and she says if she sees a problem with a little bit of wing virus of some sort or any of that, she'll throw it on there and it cleans it right up, she says.
Yeah, I'm going to try it this year, and I'm going to mix it in with some Apis and some other stuff, some pollen sub and everything, and sprinkle it on the hive. So I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to give it a try.
Is this your secret project you're going to come up with at some point?
Who, me?
Yeah.
That's already working. It's bubbling.
The slurry?
Now. Yeah, the slurry's bubbling now.
Okay, cool.
So.
What are you making a slurry out of it or what?
No, I'm making the slurry with Apis, a little bit of pollen powder, and it's thicker than pancake syrup, so I can use it syringe to put it on the top of the top bars.
Yeah, I've done that myself where I've used
Yeah.
The pollen powder and I mixed sugar water with it when I was trying to do my cell builders, and I squirted down
Yeah.
the tops of the frames.
Yep.
And then the guy that I got the idea from, then I don't know what he's doing. He hasn't done it here till lately, but you can buy the empty caulk gun cylinders off of Amazon.
Yep.
You can fill them up and then you can caulk it down
the
hive that way.
Yep. So if it works, I'm gonna put a little sugar. I'm gonna put a little sugar in it, some pollen sub, some Apis, and a couple drops of lemongrass oil to scent it so they know it's there. And if it works,
I don't think you have to do that, Bill, because I would let it drizzle down. It was thick like pancake batter, a little thicker than that, where it just it spread over top of the frames and it just stopped.
Yep.
And then the bees lined up like a bunch of little pigs around there.
Yep, at the trough.
They had both sides. they just sucked it down.
Yep. So I'm going to try it. If it works, I've already priced out those cylinders for caulk guns. So if it works, I'm going to pack it and sell it as a supplement.
Mm-hmm.
So if it works.
Have any of you guys used a Hive Alive supplement in your syrup?
Nancy has. She's a Hive Alive fan.
I used it last year in my syrup, and I'm going to try it again this year and see if year to year I can see any difference.
I was sent some and used it last year, I guess it was, and I don't know. Maybe I do it right. I didn't see any major difference. Now, last spring, I had, queen issues. Queens were too darn old. So I had to overcome that. And then the year before that, when spring came around, that was the first year I used Apis. And it was like, I've never seen so darn many bees in my life. I mean, every hive was a volcano of bees.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, you got my attention.
Yep.
So, Jason, he's in Ontario. Yeah, it's probably still super cold.
Yeah, 2 years ago, I had put some Hive Alive or the Honeybee Healthy, and I mixed a little bit of pollen sub into my syrup and used it. And that got insane with that lemongrass oil, driving the bees crazy. Yeah, and then last year I did the Hive Alive, and kept it in my syrup, that I was feeding. And I guess I'm going to do that again this year, but I don't know. I'm listening to the conversation here for sure.
Yeah, but that lemongrass oil is like bee crack.
Yeah, that's why I dropped out of it. I mean, it caused a lot of problems.
Yeah, it will. But I got that Hive Alive syrup or additive that you're supposed to.
That's what I have.
You're supposed to put so much of it per gallon of it, you know.
Yep. The activator.
Yeah, maybe I didn't mix it. I don't know. The bottle, I figured it out. I only could get about 80 gallons out of it.
Yep.
So it was a pretty good sized bottle, about yay tall. And I'm like, well, hell, that's not even going to start my feeding process. I'm going to drop a couple 100 gallons in at the time.
Yeah, I got two of those smaller jugs, but they were like a little jug, style. And then I bought the bigger jug.
Was it a bottle? Was it a small bottle?
No, these were like a small
quart jug.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it was metric, but somewhere maybe around a quart. Where what I picked up this year, discounted down there at Nobby, would remind you something probably more like a gallon and a half, or maybe almost 2 gallons. I forget how many milliliters or liters it was, but it was at least 2 2-liter bottles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, Via Honeybee says it'll stabilize the honey. Well, I'm only
Well, it'll stabilize the syrup so the syrup doesn't mold. That's one of the big things I saw last year is instead of the Honeybee Healthy or just the plain syrup, you'd get the black floaties in it pretty quick. Where with a Hive Alive, I'm not having any issues with that.
Right.
I mean, do you still use Honeybee Healthy?
No, nope. I have a jug of it downstairs, but
I haven't heard anybody use that stuff anymore. It got up to over $100 a gallon when I was buying it by the gallons, and I'm like, forget this, I'm done.
Yep. No, I haven't used it in 2 years. I mean, I used it 2 years ago, and then last year I used a Hive Alive in it, and this year I'm planning on Hive Alive as well. So,
yeah,
but I'm not having boiling up bees like you're talking about. What's this?
Yeah, but do you keep your syrup around that long? I mean, I feed it, I make it, I feed it, it's gone.
Most of it goes right on, but I have a couple nurse tanks out in a couple yards that I do keep a few gallons in, so I don't have to haul syrup in every time I go to the yard.
Tom says it's a 2-liter jug, Will.
Yeah, I think it is a 2-liter. Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, maybe I just didn't give it a long enough time to check it out. But no, I do my Apis for sure, all my fall feeding, and I do the rocket fuel global patties. And I'll be honest with you, I finally dialed it in for me when I should be putting that on. And I started, this year I had to jump in there the last week of January because some of my hives are close to starvation. I don't know. They just blew through the honey they had this year. And I mean, I fed them to the point where they would not take anymore. And some of those double deeps I guarantee everything in the bottom's gone and pretty much everything in the top's gone.
Huh.
But
they're tearing through my candy boards this year big time, more than I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm throwing them. And then I went ahead and put I'm finally got it in my mind when my maple trees bloom, which is about mid-March. And you got to, if you're going to do with the pollen patties, I mean, it depends on what you're doing with your bees, but I want them built up strong, rocking and rolling. And, now I understand you got to get them on the last week of January or first week of February.
Yep.
And then roll through all of February, about 6 weeks worth. February, about the mid-March, and then natural pollen starts to come in along with a little bit of maple nectar. And then, they go crazy. They're not going to need anything else.
Yeah. Well, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid with you this year, Charlie. I'm putting patties on much earlier than I normally do. So give it a try.
I mean, they're flying through it out there right now.
Oh yeah, they are going through it, and they're hungry right now because I've never seen my bees react that way around for pollen sub. Never.
I had a hard time getting weight on them the end of last year, and I kept syrup on like you're talking, Charlie. I kept syrup on them till they wouldn't take it anymore. But we really didn't have the goldenrod and the asters. We really didn't have many good flows in my area here at the end.
I don't depend on any of that.
Yeah,
there was goldenrod right up the road here on the side of the road, and my goldenrod it's fine for pollen. They'll calm down over because I used to get phone calls from I used to get.
But the nectar was a no-show.
Let's just say I'll get a few text from the inspector and say, hey, are you feeding your bees? Because we're getting complaints over at the local swim hole.
Yep.
And,
yep.
And I said, well, they ought to be not over there. I just dropped 100 gallons on them. And so anyway, then as soon and then everything is fine. The bees went away. Well, of course, darn the goldenrod came out. That's why, because bees got something to do.
Yeah.
So they're bringing in the pollen. It's a pollen source for me, but it's no nectar source. And then I understand through Bob Benny and different ones that there's multiple types of goldenrod. Some of them produce a good nectar and some of them don't. And
yeah,
but my thing
with our dry summer like it was, I don't think we had any very much nectar flow in our goldenrod at all this year.
I have zero nectar flow as far as I'm concerned. I have a lot of pollen out of goldenrod, and that's all. I don't count on any of that. I just know that September the 15th, thereabouts, is when I'll start putting the feeders on, unless something's drastically changed. But normally it's around the 15th, and by the 15th of October, I'm done. And I'll drop somewhere around 200 gallons of fluid in them.
Did they take weight though this year? I mean, did they take it down?
Yeah, they took it down to the point where, like, am I going to be able to get this last 40 gallons in there? And it's like, then I start for 2 weeks, I'll leapfrog them. This one here's taking it. This one here's stop. Take the fluid out of here, dump it into this one, and then take the feeder off of that one. And then you just keep going and going. And finally they all sucked it dry. And then I just took it all off and everybody was filled. Do I sit there and weigh all that stuff like some people do? No, I don't sit there and weigh that kind of stuff. It's just, I'm doing 40-gallon batches at a time. I got my mixing machine. I got my tank. I'm out there in the truck. I pump it off.
Yep.
And pump it into the top high feeders and just lay it to them and all that until they stop. Now, like I say, there's some hives out there, they're not that strong and there's plenty of honey in there. And there's other ones that are super strong and, they're going through it.
Yeah. I see that every year when I feed syrup. I feed that, fructose syrup. So I see that as well, what Charlie's seeing. But we start feeding during the dearth, and we feed all the way up until into October, first part of November. And we're feeding straight syrup. We're not cutting it.
You're not.
Well, my stuff it's close to 2-to-1.
Yeah.
Because I can't, the pump that I have won't pump through 2-to-1. It's just too thick.
Yeah.
But it's close enough. It's within 50 pounds of sugar of being 2-to-1. Glade, do you want to? I'm doing all the talking, Glade. I didn't know whether you want to jump in or not.
No, I actually have to jump off. So,
all right.
I'm glad you came in, Glade. Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, come on over to my channel. I mean, I know you've popped in occasionally, but see.
And I do. I still work full time. I still have things I do, and it's hard to get on everybody's channel, so I pop in and out. Sometimes I'm listening but not making any comments. So
yeah, you're lurking. That's cool. No problem.
So
I was going to say hi to you, Nobby, but I don't know. I missed you or something. I'm not sure what happened there.
I saw you walking down in the vendor area a couple of times, and I was going to come over and say hello, and you were gone.
Yeah,
when I turned around, you were gone. So
yep. So I don't know.
You didn't get trapped in the storm, did you?
No, I actually left. I left a day early. I didn't want to, and I left on Saturday morning, and then I hit the mountains. See, the problem I have is there was a lot of folks, well, they left this Saturday. I said, yeah, but the track of the storm is exactly the way I go home. Whereas a lot of folks either going north or they're going south of the track. And there was a storm coming up the coast and a storm coming from the west, and it's all converging on my area. So when I went through West Virginia, I was going towards Morgantown, West Virginia, over the mountain into Maryland. I hit about 40 miles worth of snow going across those mountains. And I finally got out of it as soon as you went past Frostburg, Maryland. Then you got into Cumberland, Maryland, and it's sunshine and dry and no problems whatsoever. But there's this swath where all those ski resorts are, and they get pounded of snow up there. I don't know. Maybe I could have made it. I know Bill. He left about 6 o'clock in the morning Sunday
morning.
And all.
Yeah,
we got stuck.
Yeah,
we were supposed to leave Sunday, and
were you flying?
We boarded the plane twice, taxied out to the runway twice, back to the gate twice. I went through security 3 times that day and never left the ground. We finally got out Monday afternoon, but we ended up, the only way for me to get back to, I was trying to get back to Phoenix because our local regional airport flies to Phoenix. And so I was just trying to get back to Phoenix, and the only route back was through Minneapolis. And so Monday we caught a flight out of Louisville to Minneapolis, but it got delayed, which meant we missed our connecting flight in Minneapolis. We got stuck in Minneapolis Monday night. We didn't get hit to Phoenix till Tuesday morning, and it took us 2 extra days to get home. But it was so bad we just started to laugh because you couldn't have done anything.
No.
Well, better to be safe than what's have had here lately.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess in Louisville. They had about 4 inches of snow, and then it rained on top of it and just froze.
Yeah.
Well, that's Acorn was trying to get out of there Sunday morning because they were going to ABF in Reno on Tuesday, and they didn't get out of there until Sunday evening to go back to LAX.
Well, when we got to the airport Sunday morning, we were supposed to leave at 11, and every flight on the board was canceled except for ours.
Yeah.
And we mucked around all day. Like I said, we taxied out twice, back to the gate twice, unloaded, back on the plane. It was a nightmare.
No, what a pain. I know Nancy flew out a day sooner.
Yep.
And I left a day sooner. I know that Bob Benny, I had heard that as soon as Saturday was done, they packed the bags up. They didn't stay overnight. They drove all night. And I ain't able to do that anymore. I can do it, but I'm thinking to myself, well, if I go so many 100 miles out and then get a room, the storm's going to catch up,
Yeah.
So yeah. I missed a day of the show, which was pain, but what do you
catch all the videos later though?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see any much. I went to one of the classes. The one I wanted to go was Greg Rogers on Saturday, and I was in mostly the showroom area. And I tell you, there was a lot of things I wanted to stop and talk to people about, and they were busy, and I was getting tired. And I just, I sit here and think about it now. I'm like, man, why didn't I stay there? Well, I don't know. It's like, it's like all this equipment and different things, it's like, they'll talk about buying stainless, as I call it. And I'm like, I'm done buying stainless. I don't need any more stainless. And, and that kind of stuff. Just like this, next year when I go out there, I need to get certain miticides, and I'm not sure what else I'll get, but not a whole lot. Smalls, a lot of small stuff. But my big thing is I know you didn't know about it or whatever, but we had the No Life Beekeepers pizza party dinner that I was co-hosting with via Honeybees, and we had a really great time. And a lot of the folks here on these chats came in that night, which we got to see each other instead of trying to find each other at the show. we all congregated at one location where we could get to see each other and meet everybody for the first time, if it was that. And I really like that. We're working on finding a bigger place and get the logistics ironed out way ahead of time this time, and it'll be a lot comfortable and fun, and hopefully everything goes well.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I gotta go. Thanks for letting me on.
Good night, Glade.
Yeah, no problem, Glade. Yeah. I always try to find your show, but you're always, what is it? What are they all? The different associations that you have that you post on your site. Is it you can't zoom in, can you, Glade?
Oh, I usually do a local beekeepers. I'm trying to teach some of these local backyard beekeepers how to keep bees, and they won't listen to me, but that's okay.
Well, they got to kill their hives a few times.
Well,
yeah,
that's what happens. But
yeah, I know.
Anyway,
you just can't save people from themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as much as we try, it's hard to do.
Yeah. Yep. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, Glade. You have a good evening. Good luck getting your presentation together.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, it's 10:30 on a Monday night. We've had a good chat tonight. Thanks everybody for coming out. If you haven't already done so, hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us all out in the long run. Charlie will be back on Friday night. And are you doing it? You're not doing a chat Friday night before the splits class, are you?
I've been thinking about that. I don't know whether I could come to your house and we could somehow figure all that out or not.
Yeah, we could do it together here in the same room.
I gotta be able to, I know I gotta get all my logins so I can log in as me so I can run the show. I do know that.
You can do that here.
Well, I guess we'll shut the chat down. I think Tom wants to talk to me.
Yep. So good night, everybody. Thanks for coming out. And y'all have a safe, productive week. And I will see you next Monday night at 8 o'clock.